How's it going today, guys and gals? My name is Gene, and welcome to today's AA meeting. I hope everyone is enjoying their Saturday and is ready to look at and analyze one of the best anime fight scenes I've seen in a while. Knight versus Devil. Arthur versus Shinra. David Productions is a staple in the anime industry, providing us fans amazing shows to watch. We all know how popular JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is, and it's thanks to David Productions really capturing and animating the essence of the manga, really helping bolster its popularity. This isn't to discredit Araki. He's an amazing writer and artist, but I know for me and a lot of anime-onlys would have never heard of it if David Productions didn't do what they did. The same goes to the anime they are producing now, Fire Force. As a young middle schooler, I loved Soul Eater. But once the show ended, I figured that was it in terms of Okubo's work. Even when I learned about Fire Force, the ignorant side of me was put off with the idea of an anime about firefighters. But oh man, am I glad to have given this show a chance, because it is now a staple in what animes I like to recommend to people. David Productions took full advantage in creating the Fire Force anime that had put other anime shows to shame. Anyway, enough of the praising, since there is one big reason why you clicked on this video, and that is to learn the significance to the Arthur-Shinra fight. Today we're going to look at the character developments between both Shinra and Arthur, and finally we're going to discuss the high quality animation behind the fight. Firstly, I wanted to talk about the knight in shining armor, Arthur. His character has always been one of my favorites in the series with his knight comedic lingo. In this fight, we learned why he acts the way he does. And to be perfectly honest, I felt we didn't need an explanation, but I'm glad one was given to us. We learned as a small child, Arthur's family had owned a restaurant, and one day it was burnt down. Whether it was an accident or burnt by them is left up to the audience to decide regarding if you believe in news media outlets or not. We learned that because the restaurant was burned down, the family no longer has money. Arthur went to his father to let him know that dinner was ready, but was confused when he saw his father having a cowboy hat over his head. Let me take this opportunity to break from the script and say I thought for a second that his father was just as crazy as Arthur was and thought he was a cowboy. Hence, the cowboy and the night scene to things. It's weird. Arthur asked his father why he was looking so deep into the cowboy hat, wondering if he saw anything in there. His father tells him yes, and lets him look deep within the hat, and asked what he saw. Arthur's imagination thought of a castle, and from then on, Arthur used his knightly imagination to cope with reality. That same day, he pictured his family as rich, and saw his tiny dinner turn into a feast best suited for a knight of his taste. Arthur's parents ended up abandoning him that same night. From then on, Arthur only sought happiness from being a knight, and coping with the reality of the cruel world by slaying what he thought would destroy his perfect fantasy universe. Mind Tools has an article discussing guided imagery, a mental stress management strategy used to help combat, stress. I'll link the article down in the description below if you are at all interested in giving it a read. Arthur uses this technique, exaggerated of course, as a way to stay positive and not to think back to that time as a kid where he lost his family and his restaurant all in the same day. In terms of importance of fighting Shinra, yes, the rivalry is real, but Arthur knows Shinra well enough to know that he is currently quote-unquote possessed, and allows Shinra the ability to fight through it even though it would be easier to take him out. Arthur even acknowledged heroes for Shinra, which doesn't even exist in Arthur's world. But this acknowledgement shows us, the audience, that even though Arthur can be stupid, he gets reality, even if it is his own fantasy reality. Shinra's self-battle with the Evangelist was as intense as it could possibly be. For Shinra, he had learned back in Season 1 that the demon that he hated all of his life turned out to be his mother. This leads him to try to find answers about what is the Evangelist, and is there any way to turn his mom back to normal from her infernal state and rescue his brother. It is here, once he visits Company 4, where Shinra has a one-on-one encounter with the Evangelist, taking form of Sister Iris. It is here where the persuasion of giving up and allowing someone to control you takes place. I've discussed the biblical context here in a previous video for Demon Slayer, and the overall gist is that in most all religions lies a moment in which someone is faced with a struggle and a greater evil power comes offering salvation. Yes, in terms, salvation seems great at the beginning, but the decision has consequences. The main one being losing all of one's sense of self. Shinra was offered the chance to exact revenge on all those who have feared him for the false narrative for killing his family, as well as promising to bring back his family. Shinra never gives a definite answer, but is confused and ponders, which allows him to lose control of his body. Here, we have the battle between him and Arthur. In a sense, the manipulation between the Evangelist and Shinra was broken once Arthur asked about saving Shinra's family, and the Evangelist answered that it's nearly impossible, so the second best course of action is to burn down the world. It is here where author mentions Shinra's goal in wanting to become a hero, allowing Shinra to step into gear and kick himself back into control. Once he gains control, he demands to learn more about his family, but the Evangelist, being the evil in this scenario, vanishes as Shinra is not willing to sacrifice his will to her. There is no need to keep him. I find this whole thing cool in the sense that the Fire of Soul is all based on the fictional religion in Fire Force. We as humans will go through our fair share of struggle. The life lesson is to never give up your morals to achieve an easier outcome. Life is tough. It's meant to be. It creates character. But if we cheat, not only do we play everyone around us, but we play ourselves. Shinra, wanting to become a hero, knows this, as once he gains control, states,
I have to answer such a stupid question seriously. A hero! I am a hero!
Now that the character development section is over, let's talk about the wonders of David Productions blessed us with the animation towards this fight. Now, the fighting animation in Fire Force isn't meant to be taken lightly. Shoot, do y'all remember the Show versus Shinra fight from last year? In terms, this fight was an absolute spectacle with the use of new age animation techniques and the multiple different angles used to capture the fight. My favorite part had to be the sequence of Arthur's countdown before he struck Shinra down. The animation was so sound, and no expense was taken in making that particular scene amazing. Let me know what your favorite part was in the comment section below. After seeing this fight, I'm excited to see the rest of the fights that the series will bless us with, and hope with all the use of attention to detail convinces other studios to put more work in the most important scenes, those being the fight scenes. Can't have another 7 Deadly Sins fiasco on our hands. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today. I won't be doing a full anime breakdown on Fire Force, but I'll talk about the important events I find interesting, unless you guys want full breakdowns of Fire Force. If you do, just let me know. For my Attack on Titan fans, I'm writing a script as we currently speak for an episode I will release tomorrow, in which I'll give a date and time for the live stream coming up next week. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss another AA meeting, please consider subscribing. This has been Gene with Ascension Anime, and I'll see you all later. Ciao.